Hey everybody, in this video I want to give you a tour about how to get information or data out of the system and into, say, a platform like Workday, PeopleSoft, etc., where your time that's being recorded by your team members has been put into the system. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to log into the platform, and as we log into the platform, the first thing that we want to do is come down here to settings. And over here on your timer shortcuts, these are timers that are set up over here, as well as time tracking. You can add entries out on this side. These are the ways that people get information in. But more importantly, if you have the timer connection installed, let me go ahead and re-authenticate the timer. And now with that being said, I can show the sidebar. So you can click through here to log your time. There's another video where I went through and explained all of that, how to install it and how to get it all set up. You can watch that video separately. But nonetheless, suffice to say, there is time now into the system, and what you want to do is get that time out of the system. So you can do this programmatically, and to turn this on, you come over here to Platform Settings, click on Platform, and then within here you have Time Card API. This allows you to programmatically request your time out of the system for a particular date range. Now, it doesn't allow you to pick or cherry pick individuals. It's all time in the system for date range, because its intention is for you to be able to use this in something like Workday, which is what I'm giving right here, Workday. All right, so I'm going to type that. This is irrelevant. You could put Foo Schnickens or some crazy name that you want to make up. But nonetheless, you just click Create the Key after you give it a name. And now it is up to you to copy this key out, because you're going to need this for the next couple of steps. So I'm going to leave this window here for right now. If you come down here to the View API Documentation, it will give you information about what you're needing to do, what the endpoints look like, and things of that nature. And I'm going to actually go through a quick demonstration using this key that you saw me just create. Here I'm using Postman, and I already have a vanilla situation where I've got one, basically a simple collection, but I have a single endpoint here that I'm doing, which is just an HTTP socket. I'm doing GET because I'm trying to get information out of the system. And so there's a base URL, and then this is the date range that's right here, the start date and the end date. So this is going to take it for the last week of Thanksgiving, which was just last week. And as a result of this, it's going to give me all of the time entries for this particular date range. Now, in order to know what to do or how to set this up, I'm going to come over here, and I've created some placeholder variables, one called the base URL, and then the other one called the API key. And you can see here's the base URL that's used here. And then for the header of this, I'm using the authorization, but then I'm specifying bearer because this is a bearer token. And then we're providing the API key value there. Now, for the base URL, you can just hover over this like this in Postman, and then you can come down here to enter a value. But what value do you add? Well, that's where this comes into play here. So we're going to go ahead, and we've got this copy to our clipboard, right? And then we would paste it into this area right here, which is what this is. And so there's your endpoint. And then these are the parameters that it specifies. And you have the full example. Let's see, where's the full example at? Right here. So here's the full working example. So you take your base URL, then you add or tack on this to it, and then you're good to go, and you can take that information out. All right, so for the base URL, I'm using this right here. So I'll copy this out as is. We'll come over here. I'm going to hover over it. I'll put my cursor in here. Let me get rid of all this garbly-gook on the back side. And we've got everything HTTP. We don't need the / because there's a slash there. And that should be good enough to get this satisfied. It went from red to now what it needs to be. And then now we need to enter in the API key. And this is what that API key is. So we'll go ahead and we'll populate the API key here. And now that we have the date range, because these are our parameters, we're asking for this week. So if I click on the calendar, actually there's no calendar on this side. Anyway, it's the last week of Thanksgiving. I'm just going to go ahead and hit send. And then all of a sudden we get a 200 and a plethora of data that comes through for a gazillion cards and time cards, right? And so all of this information's here, and you can see an example of what this is. So this is only going to return one record in this example. Obviously, the full API returned a bunch of additional information. But what you do get is you get the user ID, the email, the first name, the last name. This is important, the employee ID in the system. But this is the crux, okay? Your time entries, you see your billable hours for the date, okay? These times is based on America, New York time zone. So we have a couple of different things. This is only one day. And we can see that for this particular day, we have a total of 8.5 total hours. But the billable hours is only 7.0. So if you're just needing high-level, superficial information, you'll use the data returned in the summary block of the array. Otherwise, you can use the details, and you can get the client, the name of the client, if it has an account ID. This one's giving a Salesforce example. Anyway, the project information, project details, the project code, what it was that they worked on, that type of information, as well as the start time, the stop time, what the actual duration of it is it billable, and then, of course, a quick description of what that might have entailed. So this is what you'll get there. We look at the a real time card. Let's scroll all the way to the top. This is for Amanda Riviera, based out of Australia, Sydney. That's the time zone. And this is the summary data. So for this particular day, this individual worked a total of 13 hours. Out of those 13, only almost 11 of them are billable. And you'll need to make sure that you understand the date and the time zone offset, because this is important when you're trying to bring this in. Anyway, we have summary data for each day of the week and the hours that they worked for each day. This is the quick, superficial, informational data. Then you have a details block, and that detail breaks down each time card into its full data capability. So you can either use the summary, which is the wrapped up, very quick, terse type of information, or you can use the very granular, detailed areas. So that's it, how to pull information out of the time card. Very simple, but yet very powerful and very convenient. That's it for this video. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.